Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary and explanation of the story of all Archon quests released in the game Genshin Impact version 5.3. The Traveler gets a message from Mavuika to meet tomorrow and goes to bed. While asleep, the Traveler dreams she is in the Night Kingdom. The Night Kingdom seems in poor condition, and the Traveler sees a wall of light. The wall of light is blocking souls from entering the Night Kingdom, and those souls are crying out in agony. The Traveler then sees the captain speaking to a bunch of souls. The captain tells the souls, "Stay strong, my soldiers. One day I will deliver you to the place I promised." The Traveler wakes up and heads over to Mavuika, who is with Citlali and Xilonen. They are discussing forging the ancient name. Xilonen says that normally forging an ancient name requires a ceremony to extract memories from the ley lines. However, thanks to the Pilgrim's Chronicle they got from the Lord of the Night, they don't have to do that now. Mavuika says in 3 days the Traveler's ancient name will be completed and they will go into the Night Kingdom to fight the Abyss. Mavuika says the Night Kingdom is a realm of souls and memories where mental fortitude outweighs physical strength. Mavuika advises the Traveler to go rest before their attack. The Traveler leaves and bumps into Kachina and Mualani, who invite them to a feast hosted by the people of the Springs. The people of the Springs usually host the feast before a pilgrimage and hope to do so for the Traveler. Kachina says all their Natlan friends will be there. The Traveler agrees and suggests they invite Mavuika. They invite Mavuika and then all head over together. The feast is a good time. Afterwards, the Traveler goes with Kachina to her tribe to check on Xilonen and the ancient name. Along the way, they run into a Tapetlisor named Io and his parents. It seems Io has Abyssal Corrosion Syndrome. Abyssal Corrosion Syndrome is a mental disorder resulting from abyssal contamination and cannot be cured even if the abyssal energy is purified. Io likely got contaminated during the recent battle with the Abyss. They administer some of the Draught of Lucidity they got from the captain and cure Io. They continue on, say goodbye to Kachina, and reach Shilonen's place. Citlali is already there and says Xilonen is working on the last part of their ancient name. Xilonen soon comes out and gives the Traveler her completed ancient name, which is called Tumaini, meaning hope. The Traveler is the first bearer of this ancient name. Xilonen says they still need to test whether the Traveler's soul can connect to the ley lines and if the Night Kingdom accepts her. Side note, in prior Archon quests they established that forging an ancient name will consume the life of its creator. While that implies Xilonen would die after forging the Traveler's ancient name, that doesn't seem to be the case. In fact, Xilonen seems completely fine. After having dinner, they head somewhere quiet to test the ancient name. They begin testing and connect the Traveler's soul to the Night Kingdom. The ancient name seems to work just fine. Suddenly, souls start appearing, and Citlali explains the damage to the ley lines has allowed the souls to leak out of the Night Kingdom. The testing ritual has allowed them to see these souls. They shut down the test and realize it isn't just souls from the Night Kingdom they can see, but lost souls as well. Citlali explains because the Night Kingdom is weakened, some souls get lost and just wander around before disappearing entirely. They don't have the time or ability to save all the lost souls here, but they do try to save some. One of the lost souls they find is Vichama's, who died in the recent battle with the Abyss. Citlali saves Vichama's soul and sends him to the Night Kingdom. They continue trying to save lost souls, but many of them are beyond saving. They then find Io with the souls of his grandparents who died during the battle with the Abyss. They offer to save Io's grandparents, but his grandparents decline. It seems they'd rather spend their last moments with Io, even if that means inevitably fading away into nothing. The Traveler and friends respect their decision and soon leave the area. A few days later, the time for the final battle has come. The Traveler shows her ancient name to Mavuika, and Mavuika makes a speech to the people of Natlan. Mavuika then takes the Traveler into the Night Kingdom. They arrive at what Mavuika says is their last pit stop before they attack. Thanks to the Sacred Flame, everyone is connected and the Traveler can share some words with her Natlan friends before heading out. Side note, depending on your progress through the story and world quests of Natlan, the dialogue here can change. After she's done talking, the Traveler heads to Mavuika, who says they need to split up. The enemy they're fighting has a core similar to the Abyssal Tumors. Mavuika will go destroy the core while the Traveler heads straight to the enemy's lair where they'll meet up again. They split up, and as Mavuika progresses, she meets the soul of her long-dead sister. They share some loving words before Mavuika continues on and destroys the core. We go back to the Traveler, who is fighting her way through the Night Kingdom. Various souls she's encountered before, like Atea, Vichama, and Malko, show up to help. Side note, depending on your progress through Natlan's story and world quests, the souls that appear here may change. They eventually run into Guthred's soul. Guthred says he's not the real Guthred, but a heroic version of him recorded by the Masters of the Nightwind. However, through his fragmented memories, this version of Guthred learned about the real Guthred and became more like him. The real Guthred was ruthless, cruel, and would stop at nothing to protect his commander, the captain's, interests. Guthred tells the Traveler he and the other souls can go no further and they must continue without them. The Traveler continues on and with the help of Koichi, the past heroes of Natlan, and the Lord of the Night, joins with Mavuika in Gosoithoth's lair. The power of Pyro awakens in the Traveler and she fights Gosoithoth with Mavuika. As they battle, the Traveler falls and the sacred flame begins to gutter. The people of Natlan then sing the Ode of Resurrection and reignite the sacred flame. Mavuika joins with the rejuvenated Traveler and they raise a sword out of the sacred flame capable of resisting the abyss. The sword's name is 1,000 Blazing Suns. With the help of 1,000 Blazing Suns, they defeat Gosoithoth and return to the stadium. With that, the abyss in Natlan is defeated for good and they hold a celebration. Afterwards, they meet with Sitlali, who says Mavuika is still fated to die. Sitlali asks where Mavuika is and Paimon recalls Mavuika leaving earlier to restore the ley lines. Sitlali says the Lord of the Night is currently too weak to restore the ley lines by themselves. Furthermore, Mavuika used the Ruler of Death's power and death was demanded in return. Sitlali deduces Mavuika likely intends to sacrifice her life to somehow restore the ley lines. They think a bit and realize Mavuika must have gone to Cinder City, also known as Natlan. They head over and find Mavuika talking to the Ruler of Death. Mavuika explains that while the Abyss has been eradicated from Natlan, it has not been eradicated completely. The Abyss continues to exist outside Teyvat and may attack again in the future. Restoring the Night Kingdom is needed to defend against the Abyss in the long term. Mavuika plans to sacrifice her life to the sacred flame, rejuvenating the Lord of the Night Kingdom, and the Ode of Resurrection. This should keep the sacred flame burning for at least a few hundred years more, after which the future Pyro Archons will need to find another solution. Sitlali argues why they don't replenish power through another pilgrimage, but Mavuika says she doesn't want Natlan to be a nation of war any longer. Mavuika's sacrifice is meant to remove the need for a pilgrimage so that Natlan can become a nation that isn't constantly fighting for survival. Additionally, the Ruler of Death has accepted Mavuika's sacrifice as a sufficient death as required by their agreement. The Lord of the Night then interrupts and suggests an alternative. The captain then arrives along with Auroron. The captain says his goal is to use his death to open the gates of the ley lines to his people. The captain's heart has been modified with Khaenri'ah technology and holds the souls of his comrades from both Khaenri'ah and Natlan. The captain wants to merge his existence with the Lord of the Nights and become master to the ley lines. He can then change the rules that govern the ley lines and allow his comrades to return to them. The Lord of the Night spoke to the captain earlier and agreed to his plan. Side note, the Lord of the Night is an angel and seems to have a mandate to serve humanity. The captain's plan also intends to challenge the Ruler of Death and create a paradox. Under the current rules imposed by the Ruler of Death, all Khaenri'ahns suffer from the curse of immortality and cannot enter the ley lines. However, the captain's sacrifice would technically be a death sufficient to satisfy the agreement between Mavuika and the Ruler of Death. So, either Mavuika's deal with the Ruler of Death is rescinded, or the curse of immortality is rescinded and the captain is allowed to die. Additionally, removing the curse of immortality seems to have severe consequences. The Ruler of Death seems to accept a compromise. The curse of immortality will remain and the captain's body will remain sort of alive in Cinder City forever. However, the captain has somehow still merged with the Lord of the Night, allowing him to change the rules of the ley lines. This seems to mean both the captain's soul and the stored souls of his comrades can now enter the ley lines. Furthermore, by merging together, the Lord of the Night now seems to be immortal and no longer needs pilgrimages or anything else to sustain itself. This also means the Night Kingdom and the Ode of Resurrection will continue so long as the Lord of the Night remains immortal. The Lord of the Night then chats a bit and says the reason why the Night Kingdom was unable to accept lost souls is because the Heavenly Principles modified the ley lines. This was originally meant to counter the Abyss and prioritize stability. Subsequently, the ley lines were decimated, likely by the disaster 500 years ago. Even after the ley lines were reconstructed, the rules that enabled the Ode of Resurrection made it impossible to reconnect to the ley lines of other nations. The captain targeted Natlan for his plan because of this unique difference. By changing the rules governing Natlan's ley lines, there now seems to be a resolution for the lost souls and for outlanders that may die within Natlan in the future. Sometime later, a monument is constructed to memorialize all those who died in the war. The traveler talks with Mavuika there, who provides some answers. First, the ley lines were created by the Heavenly Principles and offer protection to all life in Teyvat. Any attempt to harness the power of the Abyss is met with swift punishment by the Heavenly Principles and the Shades. Side note, the ruler of death is a shade. Second, it wasn't the Ode of Resurrection that revived the Traveler in their fight with Gosoithoth, but her own strength and the moral support of everyone in Natlan connected through the sacred flame. Third, Natlan still has its Gnosis, and Mavuika expects another Fatui Harbinger to come to try and take it. Fourth, the fragment or hole that appeared in the sky when Mavuika blasted Gosoithoth is known as an ancient moon's remnants. These are relics of secret source technology from the era of the ancient dragons. Around the time the fragment appeared, a bunch of the Doctor's Fatui subordinates infiltrated Natlan. Those Fatui have a stronghold in a place called Nod Cry, a place whose people can use a special power that predates the 7 elements of Tevat. Fifth, the Traveler's ancient name doesn't belong to any tribe, but it can be inherited in the future. Finally, Mavuika thanks the Traveler for all she's done. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you liked what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.